One of the biggest distractions for most people, if not all people, currently right now is probably social media and content consumption. I've mentioned in many videos that my main vice while I was trying to improve myself was video games. I'd be on there for too long each and every day, 12 hours at least some days, and I'd just be consuming each and every day. I'd have no real breaks in between. Literally, I wouldn't even go down for food sometimes. I'd sit in front of my PC and play instead. Ignore my basic human desires just for the sake of this game. It had no significance in the end. But for others, I'm sure this is the case as well. YouTube, Netflix, places where you consume content probably keep you away from the things you should be doing for a long amount of time. And this stuff adds up. Maybe you're procrastinating your way into it. Maybe you're saying, oh, I'll do it in an hour and I'll do it in 2 hours. Maybe that's your sort of excuse as to why you continue to do these things. But a lot of it goes unnoticed, and becoming aware of these things is the hardest and the first step that you should take into trying to rectify this in order to, control your content diet. Because it's like this, we control how healthy we are by, eating right, eating clean, cutting out junk food, but we control how healthy our mind is by controlling what we consume online, our content diet, who we choose to watch, and how we choose to get our entertainment sources. So I'm gonna just go through a couple little tips and stuff that I think would be pretty helpful in helping you control your content diet in order to limit the amount of stuff you consume, and also making the times which you do choose to consume more productive. Firstly, what I'm going to say is, I know a lot of people have the habit of like eating and then watching YouTube at the same time. I used to do this quite a lot. And what has helped me kind of rectify the stuff that I used to watch, like the stimulated content that really didn't bring me any value, and just kind of continued that cycle of wanting to consume another one after another one after another, going through a rabbit hole after just saying, okay, I'm just going to watch this video and then I'll get back to what I'm doing. What has helped me solve that is switching my entertainment sources to something educational while being entertaining. I think learning is one of the best forms of entertainment, because not only is it productive, like if you're watching it, it's also entertaining at the same time. I like watching a lot of true crime stuff, I like learning about philosophies, stuff like that. And not only are these entertaining, I'm learning something from them, I'm also getting in that same frame of mind to not continue going down that rabbit hole, because I'm being constantly reminded of the work that I have to do while I'm consuming this content. So, find out what your entertaining yet educational piece of content is. Everyone has their own interest. Yours might be similar to mine, so you may be able to just watch the same things as I do. But this will be a really, really step in the right direction, because you don't want to keep consuming these things as well. You can also do this in excess, but it's a lot easier to stay in the frame of mind to be doing work when you're watching something that is educational, so you don't go down that rabbit hole afterwards and then continue to fuel the cycle of unproductivity. So find your educational yet entertaining piece of content, stick with it, keep watching that stuff, because you're learning something and it's entertaining at the same time. Another good thing that comes from these as well, which isn't super on topic, but you end up having a lot better conversations with people, because you have a lot more interesting stuff to talk about. I remember I used to watch podcasters, and I always used to think they always have such interesting stuff to talk about. They always seem so knowledgeable on a bunch of different things. Yeah, I think their content diet, and because they're just naturally very good social speakers as well, they're just able to flow in conversation, and having knowledge like this, learning while being entertained, is a great way to have, good, enjoyable conversations as well, and to, win friends and stuff like that. Another thing I'm going to say, and another tip that I'm going to give, is a very effective thing to do if you're trying to take it to that next level as well. If you're really trying to, work on cutting all content out, is to switch content consumption for something linear with a story or reading. Now, I truly believe that reading is just as entertaining as watching something once you really get into it, because it is like watching a Netflix series but just reading it. You know what I mean? Most series on Netflix anyway have come from books, so you might as well just read the original source, which is always going to be better regardless of what the series is. They never can really capture that true nature of what it was intended to be. And again, it's learning. You're building that catalog of knowledge, you're building, your vocabulary or whatever it is, while being entertained at the same time. Whether you're reading self-help books or whether you're reading fantasy ones, regardless of what it is, it's going to help you in learning, in entertainment, stuff like that. So yeah, switching content consumption for reading is such an easy method to just completely cut that out, because you're just kind of transferring your source of what educational or entertaining content is for you. Also, watching something with a story is really beneficial as well. It's so bad to watch short-term just stimulated flipping content, like these 10-minute short videos of just about complete nonsense. It's ruining the innate enjoyment we get from listening to something with a story or watching something with a story, because people's attention spans are shortening to the point where they don't want to watch a flipping full-on story show because it's going to take too long to get to the good part, and they don't want to build up to that stuff. Watching something linear and appreciating the passion that's gone into making something with a true good story is, again, very beneficial as well in cutting out this content consumption and stuff like that. But yeah, I just want to say, controlling a content diet, again, I want to reinforce this. It helps here. Again, whatever goes in your body controls how healthy you are, but here, this is just as important, and it may not even be conscious, but passively we do tend to get influenced by this stuff. I've had periods in my life where I haven't meditated for a long time, and I've noticed that through that my content diet has really slipped. I started watching stuff that really didn't benefit me and just was straight just trashy entertainment type stuff. I just felt like my focus was diminishing. I'd feel a lot more shame. I'd just put off a lot of other things. I'd just stay in front of my computer for a lot longer, and it just takes that one little step in the right direction to get back on track, and then continue to control that stuff so that it doesn't affect you as much in the future as it did in the past. And yeah, I think, again, it's a huge distraction that a lot of people are suffering with, if not all people. It's fairly easy to cut off through substitution of watching something else. If the end goal is to completely cut it off and you genuinely feel like you can do that, by all means, that's what you should do first. But because I feel like a lot of people are somewhat controlled by this stuff, it might be easier to kind of wean them off of it before, and watch this educational entertainment stuff and then continue that productivity, so you see the entertainment in doing hard work. Then you'll have no need to be watching this stuff, because you'll be getting enjoyment from doing all of these good habits: gym, reading, building your business, building yourself, whatever it is. So controlling your content diet is super important. I think I've pretty much made it clear throughout this whole video, but yeah, hopefully you can take something of value from this, apply it in your own life. That's the most important thing. Please do apply this stuff, because there's no point watching if you don't. And that's enough yapping from me. Strive for greatness. Don't be a vape puffing nerd.